Greetings, here we are with another delightful video. This time it is covering, oops, I bump a box that I have a thing sitting on top of, which then knocks the thing over. This is the player's guide for Exalted First Edition from White Wolf Publishing, WW8804. Exalted is a rather noteworthy, basically it is White Wolf's anime Dungeons and Dragons, and then there's going to be some White Wolf people that might actually get a little pissed off at me for literally referring to it as anime Dungeons and Dragons. White Wolf is rather famous for being rather thick in text for their systems. So I've never played this system before. This is one of the things that I literally picked up because I literally saw a whole bundle of books for a system that I don't own, and they were dirt cheap at the time, like $40 for like 50 books. So, like, my goodness, that is an opportunity basically begging to be purchased. But anyways, this book is a hardcover, as you can see. It MSRPs for $29.99, which is, considering how thick it is and the price, that is pretty cheap. Please note that this is a book from, I think, the 90s, late 90s. So there you go. And also is non-color artwork inside. The only real color is basically the cover as for the book. So it's very it has that really anime vibe kind of thing going on with its artwork, with a strong focus on Eastern aesthetic. Yet again, as I said before, there is this really strong tendency towards a lot of text. A lot of people in the TTRPG hobby denote that when it comes to White Wolf products, it's going to take you a lot of reading to find the mechanics. And then even then you will be left with more questions than answers sometimes, as sometimes it's poorly worded. But still, yeah, multiple pages of them just basically explaining the thingy. And then we actually get to the table of contents, which basically is the introduction, Chapter 1, Merits and Flaws, Chapter 2, The God-Blooded, Chapter 3, Mortal Thaumaturgy, Chapter 4, The Dragon Kings, Chapter 5, The Exalted, Appendix, Writing in the Ages of Sorrows. This book is, by the way, well over 200 pages. Over 260 pages. And that is literally the table of contents right there. I do say that White Wolf didn't do any positive sort of benefits or help when it comes to trying to suss out or find and learn their systems, as they cram a lot of things within a lot of flavor text and give you very little help trying to find them. The text is on a white background with a fine black text, and then black text on a gray background. Gray backgrounds are not terribly good to have black text on. It's a little harder to read for some people. There's some bolding of important terms that you need to take note of, which is one of the few positives that they actually put into the system or the books. There are numerous single entire page artwork spreads for various characters or character types or events. A lot of story or in-world writing, very much common. Then we are on to Chapter 1. We're in Chapter 1 already, and we went through a bunch of writing. Gaining and losing merits and flaws. various key abbreviations, so you had to quickly read through all this to find it, and just text upon text, as if someone was paid by the word to write this. You have a list of merits here, such as selective conception, ambidextrous, acute senses, double jointed, pain tolerance, large size, legendary attribute, special resistance, and more, with various point costs depending on how much you put into that merit. When it comes to the player's guide, this is actually probably the more mechanics facing of the White Wolf books. It's not unusual for the player's book to be a little more mechanically worded. Even then, we just went through a whole bunch of writing explaining the setting. You got some social, prosperity, and so much more her merits. Several pages of that. Yet again, 90s style artwork, anime artwork. And you can see it's just a lot text. By the way, we're somehow now in the flaws section. And then we have full page artwork of an important event, as well as it's describing over here on the side here. And then we have the God-blooded section, which basically means your character origin, what you are made of, and stuff like that, and where your power flows from, and stuff like that. Yet again, more artwork, very anime feel to it. And then we got the God-blooded, the demon-blooded, the ghost-blooded, half-caste, God-blooded traits, altered backgrounds, cult, and various other merits tied to that ancestry. And it just keeps going. Moral thaumaturgy, its history, and so much more. Savant, which is basically your class. Village shaman, black cultist, holy man, and it just keeps going. And this is just turning into a page through situation here. And then you just get the general flow of it. And I'm going to flip a few pages really fast, explaining the Exalted section here. Writing in the Age of Sorrows. And then right off the bat from that, we have a handy-dandy alphabet for various words and vowel. Having a brain for 5 seconds here. Basically the alphabet for the system. So if you really wanted to, you can write in the language of the setting, which is very on point for a lot of early White Wolf products. And then you have a nice character sheet. And incidentally, this is one of the few things I really like about White Wolf products, is that in spite of the whole extensive endless ramble explaining the character, the various abilities and stuff like that in the system, it breaks down to a really simple dice pool system, where you basically just darken one of these circles, and that basically is how many dice you basically roll for that attribute. So you have all your skills in the war category, life category, wisdom category, and specialties. Your list of background advantages and your merits and flaws. Weaponry notes, your willpower meter, virtues, such as compassion, temperance, conviction, and valor, and your essence meter right here. And you just basically, as I said, you just, between all your points, it's filling these in, and boom, you got a character. So, yeah, it's really hard to say what I can say about this. I'm not going to really give a score for this. White Wolf was generally infamous for just having a book that basically rambled on incredibly long and then was very poorly organized. However, in the case of the player's guides, for whatever reason, they tend to be a little bit better organized overall. But still, you basically only have the chapter, and then you have to dig through the entire chapter to find a thing for it. So as far as a score, if I were to score this, is that the overall organization of the book and ease of use of the book is literally like a 3-star. It is barely functional. It's not deeply flawed or anything like that. You're probably going to have to read through the book entirely at least once, or at least skim through it and remember where all the major topics are in the book. So when you go to the chapter section, you can easily get to the chapter you know the item is, the feature is in, that you need to get to, in case of questions in gameplay. And that's basically it. You don't get really any help. There wasn't much of any index in the back of the book that gets you straight to the item you wanted. They were very nice to include the alphabet for the written language in 2 different forms in the book, though. So if you want something like that, that's actually one of those things that should be in the Game Master's book for the system. Not so much for the players, because I don't really think it'll be very much relevant to the player or to have an alphabet for your character that takes up multiple pages, which is in the back of the book, where you could have a expanded index. So generally the system is really interesting. There's a total of 3 editions, I do believe, of the system. There was a few years after this one where Exalted 2 came out. Then there was many years after that. The system kind of died off. I think original White Wolf went out of business, and then a few years later, like literally like 2020 or just slightly around like the late 2010s, early 2020s, Exalted 3rd edition came out from a revived White Wolf company. But that is so hard to come by. It was just basically just a thing. I don't have any more information beyond that off the top of my head as to where this whole thing went. I do know that Exalted was fairly popular at one point in time in the ttrpg hobby, but was never as successful as Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf the Apocalypse was for White Wolf. So Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse and all their other little World of Darkness systems basically made the bank for White Wolf, and Exalted was basically their stab at trying to make something that competed more directly with Dungeons and Dragons. And obviously we can say that failed. But still was an interesting failure in itself. It still had a lasting impact I just don't know any more deeper details about the system than that. So if you enjoy these videos, I cover a lot of different ttrpgs systems on this channel. I show off some relics like this periodically. Some really classic ttrpg systems such as Star Frontiers every so often. And then I show off some really new stuff like Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster or Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition or something like that. Or something really, really new like G.I. Joe, the role-playing game, you know? So if you enjoy these videos, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to see what all pops up. If you are interested in what's coming out in the near future, go to the community section on my channel. There will typically be, in the past 3 or 4 polls, what is coming up for the channel and what was recent on the channel. So if you're interested in that stuff, you can go to the video section, scroll through my really long list of videos to see what I've covered already. I try to organize everything into different playlists so people can easily find the ttrpg system they want, and then binge watch however many videos they choose to until they realize my voice is irritating and painful to listen to, and then they switch off the videos. Sometimes people find my voice incredibly aggravating, and sometimes they are not bothered by it. And I'm confused by that because whenever I listen to my own voice in a video or anything else, I happen to know that people do tend to dislike hearing a recording of their own voice. And there is a good medical reason why that is, because part of your voice is not transmitted just through sound coming from your mouth and you hearing it, but also the vibration of your voice box through your skull into your ear, changing the sound in which you hear your voice. So whenever you hear your voice in a recording, it does not match your actual voice that you hear when you're talking. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time. Ciao.